about all that. But first, we got new reporting on Jonathan Kuminga.
Oh, yeah.
There's actual like not news that nothing has happened. Still nothing has happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to try and summarize the article that ESPN, that was posted on ESPN by Shams Charania and friend of the program, Anthony Slater. So the Warriors have offered Jonathan Kuminga 2 years and $45 million.
Mm-hmm.
But the hang-up from Kuminga's camp is that 2 years, $45 million includes a team option for next year. And there's a built-in no-trade clause to such a deal, and the Warriors want him to waive that no-trade clause.
Yeah.
So we'll start there. So Kuminga is saying no deal because his whole thing, and we'll get to this in a second, is wanting control over his career for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And by signing a 2 year, $45 million deal, like forget the finances for a moment, if you're waiving your no trade clause and then giving the team a team option, you are now ceding all control of your future to them.
Oh, yeah.
And that may be worth more than dollars at this point to Jonathan Kuminga. At least that's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, this thing is heading towards a conclusion. At least that's what the Warriors are trying to push right now. You can see that they're like, hey, we want to end this thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, that's nice if you want to end it because I don't have to sign a contract. I don't have to, play for the qualifying offer. I can play for the qualifying offer, but I can accept qualifying offer a month from now.
Do you know what Jonathan Kuminga's deadline is? October 1.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you have to sign a qualifying offer.
Mm.
He has until October 1st. Jonathan Kuminga's life doesn't change if he agrees to a deal today or figures that out on September 30th.
Yeah.
Like, he's chilling.
Yeah, but the Warriors are on a different clock.
Correct.
Because of the 6-month rule.
Correct. And because of they want to do other moves.
Well, yeah, they have other moves they want to do for sure,
yeah.
right? But, this is just a total mess. And you can see how they are pushing towards a conclusion, but that doesn't mean there will be a conclusion because this is just one line of, again, there are so many factions in this. There are 3 different groups of people and probably more like 4 or 5 because there are other teams that are interested as well. But the team that wants to get Jonathan Kuminga's camp, and then the Warriors. And nobody is on the same page, it sounds like. And at this point, it sounds like the Warriors are trying to play hardball and say, yeah, we're going to pull all this sign and trade stuff off the table. No, you're not.
They're definitely not.
No, you're not.
So
it's just not believable.
So Kuminga's camp offered framework of a deal. Again, this is reporting via ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Their counteroffer to the Warriors was 3 years, $82 million. So a $27.3 million average annual value. It keeps the Warriors under the second apron. I don't know how that would be laid out and how it would affect additional moves they want to make this offseason, but that's the counteroffer.
Yeah.
It's 3 and 82. And the reason this is important to me is we're now getting at least a ballpark range of kind of the dollar figures we're working with.
Yes.
Kuminga's camp is like 3 and 82. Great. That gives us a really good foundation to work off of when we're here in Sacramento talking about the Kings and what a Kuminga deal would look like for them. The other wrench that is now thrown into this, though, that had been kind of reported a little, but now we're getting really firm reporting on this from ESPN, is that we've talked about the difficulties of the Warriors and Kings making this deal just from a pure financial perspective.
Yep.
And then figuring out what that compensation looks like for a player like Kuminga, who's ostensibly an unknown or relative unknown.
Yeah.
And so if you're the Kings, like, what are you giving up for him? And so we'll get to that in a second. But Phoenix is now in the mix.
They are and they aren't.
Okay. Financially, Phoenix is in the mix.
Yes.
They have, according to ESPN, made the most lucrative push for Kuminga with a deal, a 4-year deal that has a player option in year 4, approaching $90 million.
Okay.
It is $70 million more. Nearly $70 million more guaranteed than Golden State's offer. So, Phoenix is in the mix.
Okay.
The Kings are in the mix. I assume financially.
Yeah. Phoenix isn't in the mix because Phoenix doesn't have the access to a single first-round pick.
So that's the issue. Golden State, here's further reporting. Golden State is uninterested in trade offers from the Kings and Suns. And so what the reporting from ESPN is Golden State is viewing this like, okay, Jonathan, here's 2 years and $45 million with the no trade clause waived and a team option in year 2, or you can play on the $7.9 million qualifying offer. But barring a change in offer from one of these other teams, you're playing for us next year.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll kick this can down the road. This disaster that they being the Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga, everybody is to blame here, in my opinion. They're kicking this disaster down the road and into the regular season, and just doing whatever they can to squeeze just that little bit of extra value. Hey, maybe he plays really well the first half of the year, and they can get something better than Devin Carter, Dario Saric in 2 seconds, or protected first. Maybe, okay, you can try it, but I don't foresee that going well for them.
No, I mean, like, look, this is why you should have taken care of this deal last year, but you're in wait and see mode, and you're still in wait and see mode if you're the Golden State Warriors. Everyone in the league realistically is in wait and see mode on Jonathan Kuminga. We have no idea really what he is as a player. You can look and say, oh, he did this in a playoff game, or he had this stretch of games. But for every one of those, there are a bunch of stretch of games where you're like, oh boy, like he's just hit and miss. And that happens a lot with young players. But it really does feel like no one has developed over the last like 5 or 6 years in Golden State. As far as young talent, they're just not developing at all. And that's partially on the Warriors. It's partially on the fact that they're packed with Hall of Fame players, or they were. And so it just makes this really complicated assessment. And if you're a team like the Kings, you're like, okay, we'll roll the dice on him, but it's got to be a contract that makes sense for them. And you're not going to give up a bunch because you see the leverage. There's no leverage here.
Sure. Do the Kings want him or not?
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to.
So that's just it. Is do you want Jonathan Kuminga or do you not?
Yeah.
Do you want Jonathan Kuminga, but like not really? Like we'll take him if it's dirt cheap and it's an easy flyer. Okay. It doesn't seem that it's going that way. So to me, if you're Scott Perry, and again, there's 2 different ways this can go for Sacramento. Sacramento might want Jonathan Kuminga like genuinely. They say, this is the most talented player we can possibly get. We're looking for potential franchise building blocks. We think he is that guy. In which case, if it takes Keon Ellis to get it done, all right, then you got to do it. But if they are in the camp of, yeah, we'll take him, but like we really like Keon, we're not going to give up Keon for him. Like we have a backlog at guard, so Devin Carter can be in the deal, and here's this protected first, and Dario Saric to make the money work. Yeah, here you go. Here's this. This is as far as we'll go. If that's where they are, then call up the Warriors and go, hey, we're out. Like we're done with this.
Yeah,
and just be done. Wash your hands of it.
But we know they're not. They had a meeting with him last week. They had a meeting with Kuminga last week. So this is one thing that I keep seeing out there, like, oh, Scott Perry's holding the line. Oh, this is like, oh my gosh, they would have already folded in the past. Tell me when Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox folded, like they didn't get deals done.
Right, it was the opposite.
Yeah. No, they just like said, okay, we're just not going to do the deal. They didn't fold.
Right.
Fold would have been to throw in more picks. Fold would have been to give up way more. They didn't fold.
Right.
They just sat there and just didn't get the deal done. We're in the same exact holding pattern right now. So, like, look, it started out, we heard it was Dario Saric, Devin Carter, and 2 second-round picks. Like, I'm not going to, like, put words in the Kings' mouth, but I would be very surprised if they weren't willing to go up to a protected first-round pick, right? And I don't know what protected pick that would be. So, like, maybe they give up, that 2027 Spurs pick, but they protect it 8 through 15 because it's already protected 16 through whatever.
Sure.
Maybe they do something like that. Maybe they give up. It's literally just lottery protected or top 10 protected pick. Maybe they give up that. But like if you're on the brink of a deal, then figure out what it is that they actually want, because the Kings don't have the young player that is going to like move the needle unless it's Keon Ellis. And again, I'm not giving up Keon Ellis in this deal. Like if you're starting younger, if you're looking at your team and going, okay, where are we 2 years from now? Keon Ellis should be your starting shooting guard, most likely. Like
if he wants to play for your team still.
Yeah, if he still wants, and that's the other problem, right? So this is complicated, but it's like, do you need to throw in, is it a protected first and a second? What is it that you have to give up? Because figure out what that is and move forward, or don't, or say, okay, we're done with this.
And I think that's why this is just the discussion amongst fans with it is, and I don't have the chatty house open at youtube.com/ESPN1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN1320. If you'd like to catch the simulcast. I think, I'm sure when I said then include Keon Ellis, there were people who were like, absolutely not. You'd never do that. But I think there are people who go, man, Kuminga's pretty good. Like he had average 28 or whatever it was in the playoffs against Minnesota. I'd get that talent in here. And we're talking 2 years from now, Keon's going to be like 27, 28. Like, yeah, here. And he might not even want to play here. Yeah, sure. Send him. It's all about how much do you value Kuminga?
Yeah.
And how much you value him, or I value him, or Joe values him, or anybody listening to this, anybody who calls himself a Kings fan, that's going to vary. But if you're the Kings, like let's go to put yourself in the Kings front office. If you're a member of the front office, you're deciding, are we committing to this player? Because that's the other part of this. You can't half-ass the Jonathan Kuminga thing.
No.
You have to kind of go for it. And the reporting from ESPN is directly, quote, Kuminga prefers the longer-term offers presented by the Kings and Suns because he believes they signify a fresh start, a larger guaranteed role, a promised starting position, and a greater level of respect and career control. If you're going to cede all of those things to Jonathan Kuminga, then go make the move. Go do what you have to do to get that done. And if you're wary, then like, all right, hey, we're out.
Yep.
We're done with this. We don't like if that's just it. If Scott Perry, and I'm assuming it's Scott Perry making this call, if Scott Perry's like, yeah, like him, don't love him. Like would much prefer to have Keon and sort it out that way than bringing Kuminga, because we don't know if he fits and we got questions and ties us up financially a little bit. It's just, okay, cool. Then separate yourself from this madness. Get out. Because if the Warriors really want to get a deal done, if the Warriors really, really want to get a deal done, and they go, hey, that 2 years or the qualifying offer thing was a bluff. It didn't work. It's August 13th. We need to be done with this. Then they'll pick up the phone and call Scott Perry and go, hey, all right, let's try it. And now maybe you're getting him for the kind of pennies on the dollar that you were hoping to get him for.
Well, let me add in the other problem, though. The problem is that if you do get him on that contract, you're now way over the luxury tax. And now the Kings have to unwind something else. And number one, I do see where the Kings can look at this. Like, we can't sit here and yell at the top of our lungs for a year and a half, 2 years, that the Kings have got to get more size and athleticism at the 3 and the 4, when a 6'9", like super athlete is sitting there on the table. Not only that, but Kuminga slides right into the starting lineup alongside Keegan Murray. It moves Keegan Murray to the 3, which is a better natural position for everyone involved here. That gives him the ability to move around the court a lot better. It just changes his upside. And not only that, it creates this young switchable forward thing, right? The problem that you have is that you now have to you got to go find a way to save another $10 million to get below the luxury tax, or at least get close to it, because they're hard capped at 189 million, 188, whatever the first apron is. So now they have like this process that they have to go through. And I bring this up because that could also cost something. And so if you're going out there and saying, okay, we now have to move Malik Monk, or we now have to move DeMar DeRozan, there might not be a team out there that's willing to just take those players on without you giving up something else. And I know people are like, wait a sec, you're going to give up Malik Monk and a second-round pick and 2 second-round picks? Yeah, that's the way the dynamics of the league work. No one has any cap space.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to give up something to get something. And so now that has another cost at the back end. And so you're looking at this deal as a collective deal. Like it might feel like it's 2 individual transactions, but realistically it's not. It's all part of one bigger deal. And you have to figure out how to, like, you know, it's a minefield.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they get through it. I
don't either. We'll continue discussing this. Would love to know your thoughts. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. We've talked about it ad nauseum. Should the Kings go get Jonathan Kuminga? Should they push their chips in for him or not? Because the Devin Carter, Dario Saric in 2 seconds deal clearly is not going to work. So do you want to go more than that or do you not? And I think that's what the question has to be. We'll keep talking about this. We've got some 49er stuff coming up at 11:30 with Matt Barrows, who's covered the team for a long time for The Athletic. Does a great job. We'll talk